Hello, Atascosa County. This is Daniel Elizondo, Managing Editor of the Pleasanton Express, and welcome to A30 Amplified, powered by PleasantonExpress.com, our new podcast. And I want to welcome our newest sports editor, Heaven Marquez. How are you doing, Heaven?
Gosh, I'm good. I'm so glad to be here. Daniel, I'm so excited to get this podcast started.
I mean, we've been working on this for how long?
About since last year.
Yes.
Last year, whenever I was interning here. So I'm just ready to get the ball rolling.
And we're really excited because our very first guest, I mean, it's causing a buzz in the Pleasanton area. And I want to introduce to you the newest head coach of the Pleasanton Eagles, Mr. Randy Palmer. How are you doing, Randy?
Fantastic.
Great. We're great to have you here. I just want to go over a little bit of your past history here because you've made a full circle. Started here in Pleasanton. Were you born and raised here in Pleasanton, or did you move here at some point?
I was born and raised. My parents, my dad had a farm on FM 536 north of Pleasanton, and farmers don't move. So we were there the whole time, coming through kindergarten and high school. I did start school in Lemming, so I went to the Lemming Elementary for a couple of years, and then ended up coming over here to Pleasanton and stayed here throughout elementary, junior high, and high school.
Now, you became quarterback as a junior, just kind of doing some research. It looked like at the beginning, maybe in workouts, there may have been not a quarterback controversy, but unsure. Hank Kotzer was head coach.
Yes, sir.
He was probably unsure of who the quarterback would be. You eventually became the starting quarterback as a junior. You made all district honors, honorable mention as a junior. As a senior, the team actually made the by-district playoffs. I think we lost to Ed Couch Elsa,
yes, sir,
which was a rough game, and I remember that game because it was at Tolosa Midway. I think I was at that game.
Yes, sir.
They were big dudes.
They were pretty good, yes, sir. Yeah, they were pretty good. I thought we played pretty. I can remember that game. That was 30 years ago, I think, but. I do remember that game. I actually know one of the guys that was at Edge Couch because he ended up going to school in Kingsville. So got to know him, and I remember talking about it with him. And
awesome.
It was a tough game, but I thought it was a great season for us.
Yeah. So that season, Hank Kotzer's running a Veer offense. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You had 992 yards passing and 463 yards rushing. Veer's predominantly a rushing offense, and here you get almost close to 1,000 yards passing. How does that happen?
Just surrounded by good teammates, and Coach Kotzer and Coach Hatcher dialing up some plays to get us to move the football. And that's really kind of how I've been doing my offenses for years. Is we're going to do whatever we can to move the football, whether it be throwing or running with the football, and just find a way to move the ball.
Mm-hmm. Now, you did get first team all-district honors as a quarterback your senior year, all Southwest Texas area honors. You were also a regional finalist in the 110 and 300-meter hurdles, which that's a dude's race.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's a tough race.
Yes, the 300-meter hurdles, I've been coaching track for several years also. So hurdlers have always been a staple in what we've tried to develop in a track program because I really think highly of that event, and I think it's really, you can get a lot of points with the kids running the hurdle races, and I think it's great for kids running hurdles to really become a better athlete because it is a very difficult race to run with hurdles in your way. So.
Do you remember any other athletes around Pleasanton that did as well as you going to regionals besides Elise Peters? I know she went to state in hurdles events, but I don't remember any other male athletes.
No, I don't know. We've had some great kids here.
Yeah.
I know, Coach Wood and Coach Franco, our track coaches, over the years, they'd probably be able to spit out several names of kids that have been able to do those successful.
And then you ended up going to Texas A&M Kingsville. Was it A&I at that time?
When I was recruited, it was at A&I, and then as
flipped.
soon as I got there, they switched it to A&M in Kingsville. Yes, sir.
Okay, tight end. Did you go in as a quarterback and they switched you to tight end position?
Yes, sir, I did. I was a quarterback there my first year. My redshirt year, I was a quarterback, and Coach Harms was our head football coach at that time, and I was in my second year, and I think I was the third string quarterback, and he had talked to me and said, I can have you as a third team quarterback and you won't play very much this year, or I can move you to tight end and you'd be a backup tight end and you'll be playing immediately. And I was like, all right, let's move to tight end. And I think he did a great job making that decision and seeing stuff in me to be able to evaluate what he saw in me, and definitely I think he had the right eye for it, because I went to tight end and was very successful there.
What kind of offense did they run there?
We ran the veer.
The veer as well.
Also.
So you were doing a lot of blocking.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sure there were times when you caught passes, touchdown passes, or whatever.
Yes, sir.
And then you were undrafted with the Cleveland Browns. Is that correct?
I got undrafted. The first team I went to was out in Oakland.
The Oakland Raiders.
Yes, sir.
Which
So
now
went
is
to Oakland.
Vegas Raiders.
Yes, sir.
But Raiders, and then you got traded to Cleveland.
Yes, I was in Oakland. Went through training camp. Went through all the preseason games, and they were going to put me on the practice squad. And then Cleveland ended up picking me up off of the practice squad, and so I went to Cleveland in 1999, and that was their first year back. They had a team in Cleveland. Their team went to Baltimore with the Ravens, and so Cleveland was without a team for several years. And then that was a new franchise, so I went to Cleveland that first year, and went through all that, and then went through to the second season, and they released me in training camp at the end of training camp, and I went back to Oakland, and I was with the Raiders there for another. I was in Oakland for I think 10 weeks, and then they released me, and I went to Tampa Bay, and I was with the Buccaneers for a couple of games, and they sent me to NFL Europe, where I played tight end for the Scottish Claymores.
That's right. I forgot you did go to Europe.
Yeah, so I was in the NFL Europe for one spring, and then went back to Tampa Bay, and went through their training camp, and then they ended up releasing me. And I was trying to get back in, but just it's very competitive.
It's competitive, and it's a business when you're in
Yes,
the NFL,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
It's really tough. Just on a side note, I was talking to Quinn Ewer's grandparents. They still live here in Pleasanton, and they just stopped by yesterday to get the paper. And I was talking to her outside because he's in Miami right now, and she said the same thing. It's not that he's having a tough time, but it's different.
Yes.
It's not college anymore.
No.
It's different.
Yes.
It's a job.
Yes.
Coaching career started immediately when you came back from Europe and finished that.
Yes,
portion of-
I was a substitute teacher in Poteet at their alternative school, and they ended up hiring me as a permanent sub there while I was still working out and trying to get back into the NFL. And Coach Eddie Gill was the head football coach in Poteet, and he had an offensive line position that had come available, and I was looking for a job, and he just called me up and kind of knew that I was looking for a job, and talked to him for a little bit, and so he hired me on there at Poteet. So I worked at Poteet that next year as the offensive line coach.
And that's where your coaching career evolved.
And that's
from
where
there.
it started, yes, sir.
And then from there, you end up back in Pleasanton
Yes,
as
sir.
an assistant.
Yes. I was assistant. So I was in Poteet for, I think, three years as an assistant coach, as the offensive line coach there, and then came over here to Pleasanton, and I was offensive line coach here, and then ended up getting promoted to offensive coordinator.
And this is all under Tab Dumont.
Yes, this was with Tab Dumont. Hank Kotzer was actually the AD still at that time, and I want to say that I was one of the last guys that he hired before he retired.
Oh wow!
So he was excited that he got to hire me, and it was one of the last things I think that he did as an AD.
So that's kind of crazy. So there's like you actually had two full circle moments.
Yes.
Going to college, becoming a pro, then coming back to Pleasanton. That's a good story. You were here also for the 2007 state semifinalist team here in Pleasanton. Those are memorable moments. I was sports editor at that time. Those were fun times. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you carry a lot of those memories still with you.
Absolutely. It was a great season. We knew building up to the season. After the previous years, we had shown a lot of potential, a lot of promise, and we had a lot of kids coming back from the previous year. So we really were excited about that upcoming season. And the kids did a great job. They had a great attitude. They kept working every day and just kept finding a way to win. And it was a lot of fun getting to go to the Alamo Dome and really seeing. I think it had to be probably the whole town of Pleasanton was in the dome that night, because it was
pretty loud.
It was loud. I wish we could have given more to cheer about, but it was a great atmosphere. I'll never forget how much green was in the Alamo Dome that night, because it was a lot of fun.
It was, and then it was a heartbreaking loss, but at the same time, it was kind of like that moment of just like, great moments.
Yes, sir.
Actually, you went to Poteet after Pleasanton. You were there for a year, and then from there you went to Three Rivers, and you were there for 8 seasons at Three Rivers as head coach AD, correct?
Yes, sir. AD head football in Three Rivers for 8 years. Had a lot of fun down in Three Rivers. Choke Canyon was right down the road. So
you're a big fisherman?
No, I am not a big fisherman. I hire fishing guides to help me, and I've used Catfish Marvin. He would set me up, and we'd go catch about 100 catfish.
Really?
Yes.
So I guess Catfish Marvin is some staple there in
he was one of our guys that was he worked for the school district.
Oh, okay.
He was in our transportation.
You must
mechanic.
know Catfish Marvin, because you're laughing.
Oh my gosh!
You went on a trip with Catfish
that.
Marvin. Yes.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Catfish Marvin is the man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Three Rivers, that was your first head coach AD job. I mean, what was that like?
I was in Poteet as the head football coach there previous, and then in Three Rivers for 8 years. It was a lot of fun. I really felt like we had a lot of success there. Got to hire Heaven's father, Coach Marquez, was a part of the staff there in Three Rivers I think he was there for a year or two, and then got to meet Heaven and her brothers and her mother, great people, and just kind of you just being a coach and being in the deal, you just get to meet so many different people.
Mm-hmm. And then that was like one of your first biggest moves. How was that like moving? Now that you're an AD, you're a head football coach, you always have that in the back of your mind. It's like this job may not last, correct?
Yes.
You always have to have that in your mind. I mean, what is it like moving your family?
Moving.
Same as Heaven, her dad's a coach. They had to up and move a lot. So,
yes.
What's your perspective on that?
Moving is awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving is awful. When I moved just now to Pleasanton, it was great, but it's awful at the same time.
It's
we're excited.
sweet.
Yeah, we're excited about coming to Pleasanton and doing everything here, but at the same time, knowing that we've got to pack up all of our stuff and find ways to get everything over here, and then finding a place to stay, and and then going through the whole, getting your electricity going, getting your water going. Just the whole process of moving is not fun at all. But we're definitely excited about the move coming over here and getting started here.
And I know, like Heaven, and that's how you guys connected in Three Rivers, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
You had to move from Stockdale to
Yes.
Three Rivers because
Coach
Coach Palmer
hired my dad.
There you go.
Yes. Well, I know. We lived in an RV for a few weeks. I remember that one time there was like a hurricane warning or something, and us and another family, the Blacks, we had to go hide out in the gym because we were worried we were going to get swept away.
Oh, no.
So, but I mean, I had a fun time in Three Rivers. It was always really nice.
Were you in junior high at that time?
Yeah, well, it was elementary. I was
Elementary?
in the 6th grade.
You were in 6th grade?
Yes.
Okay.
It was
Yes,
fun.
I can still recall Heaven. Definite greatest memory of Heaven was we're doing our I think it was our junior basketball league, and Heaven was on one of the teams, and I'm one of the refs. So I'm reffing, getting up and down the court and reffing the games, and pretty much every time Heaven blow that whistle on Heaven and call her for a foul, and that look right there would come out. Yeah.
Come on, Heaven.
Well, I was aggressive, but I knew my limits.
So that you like
Yes.
to argue with the refs?
I never argued.
Yeah, no,
I never
she never
argued.
argued. She just
I
gave you
didn't
that
talk
look.
But yeah, I had to give him the stink eye. Yeah.
And Coach Marquez would be not happy with heaven.
He was, yeah, he would not be if I was arguing with Coach Palmer on the sideline, I'll tell you that.
Okay, Coach Palmer, want to talk about some, what was your go-to food in Three Rivers?
Oh my! We had really good Mexican restaurants down there, kind of like Pleasanton, and then we had a great barbecue place. Sal's Barbecue was always a good
I
place.
never
to go
heard
eat.
of that.
Yeah, it's
Has it
still
been there-
open. Yes,
been
no,
there a while?
It's right there by the old movie theater.
Really?
So it's where that Rialto is.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
downtown
yeah.
Three Rivers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Sal's Barbecue.
And I know I've eaten at Vans. Vans is really good.
Yes, sir.
And I think they've got a store in George West too, I think, or something. Burgers, maybe. I don't know. I thought that they had another
There was
restaurant.
a seafood place on the way to Choke Canyon that was really good too.
Oh, I know what you're talking
Pepe
about.
Boudreaux's, but it's shut
Yeah.
down now. So
Yeah, 'cause
but that
Choke
was a
Canyon-
good place to eat also.
Choke Canyon's not looking too good, is
And
it?
it's getting rough.
Yeah.
The water levels are bad.
I saw photos of it, and it looked pretty rough. What about in Shiner? Where?
Shiner's a very small town. There's got one stoplight.
Well,
So-
and then it's kind of like in the middle of. I mean, what other big town did you go to? Gonzales? Or?
Yeah, Gonzales was we went to HEB and Walmart in Gonzales.
Okay.
And then we would go to Victoria, would be the bigger town that we went to.
I think there's a Mexican food restaurant in Gonzales, Garcia's. I think.
I don't know. I've been to several of them in Gonzales also.
I think they originated in San Marcos and they expanded and they went into Gonzales. It's really good. If you're in Gonzales, go to Garcia's.
Yes, sir.
Really, really good.
The-
What about here in Pleasanton? What are you going to now?
I've got a lot of places in Pleasanton. There's a lot of good places to eat here. My daughter's actually working at Lou's there at the golf course. So
Oh, is she?
All right, Brookie.
Yeah, Brooke's working at Lou's, so that's a good place. And then all the Mexican restaurants in town. We got some really good Mexican restaurants, and there's plenty of places to eat here in town.
Yep, there is.
China Garden, we got Chinese food.
Oh, yes.
China Garden's
Yep.
good. So
Speaking of your daughter, your son's going to be coaching
yes, sir.
here
Yes,
in
sir.
Pleasanton.
He just graduated from A&M Kingsville, and we've got him hired on. He's going to be teaching at the junior high and starting off with our junior high teams. And I know that he's going to be able to bring a lot to our program. And just as a father-son stuff, I'm looking forward to working with him and teaching him, kind of the ins and outs of coaching and trying to help him get his career going and see what he can do.
Good deal. Good deal. Quarterback, Shiner, state champion.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he was quarterback for us in Shiner. He also played in the defensive secondary, and then in Kingsville, he was a quarterback his first year there, and then he ended up playing in the secondary in Kingsville and also as a linebacker. So
Nice.
he's got a lot of attributes he can bring to the program because he's been able to play collegiately defensively, and then he knows what we're doing offensively because he ran the offense and did all that, so he knows what we're doing offensively to be able to help out our program.
That's really awesome.
Yes, sir.
That's really awesome. I think is it a fair assessment to say that the Three Rivers community pretty much opened up their arms to you and because I know that they had a coach that was pretty successful before you, and you coming in, it may have been a little tough in the beginning, but then did you have to prove yourself, or how was that? How did that look like?
I think it's just kind of being a coach, and I've been at several schools now. Just being able to come in and just start building relationships with the kids, starting building relationships with the teachers and the principals at the campuses. I think it really just kind of molds and lets it be an easy transition. Everywhere I've been able to interact with the kids and get them to really believe in what we're doing and have the mindset of wanting to be a champion and wanting to be a winner, and then just providing them the tools to be that person. Showing them, guiding them to be able to do it, because we're just going to guide them as coaches. The kids have to do the work. The kids have to understand what they're doing and learn the process, and us as coaches, we're teaching and guiding them, and ultimately they're the ones out there making the plays, and we're the ones guiding them and teaching them how to do it, and when it comes to game time, they've got to go out and make the play.
Okay. You take that mentality to Shiner. Shiner, of course, everybody knows Shiner and the successes they've had. You're there as offensive coordinator. You get to go to state championships. Your son is a quarterback on those state championship teams. I mean, talk about that. And, I'm sure those are exceptional memories that you'll always carry for you the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Got to play in Dallas Cowboy Stadium 3 times. We won it twice, and in this past season we came up a little bit short. But the first trip there was really memorable. Getting to win the state championship with my son Tyler being our starting quarterback, and just going throughout that whole season, because it was the COVID year where we weren't even sure we were going to get to play, and we knew we had a great team. So we knew what we had, and then just being able to consistently prove week in and week out that we were the best team on the field. So we ended up going undefeated that season, and then backed it up with another undefeated season. So we ended up winning 30 games in a row. We won 30 games in a row, and back-to-back state championships, and it was an awesome experience. It was a lot of fun.
Was there any point in the season, in each of those seasons, that you went to Dallas in those state championships? Any point in the season that you felt were the toughest games, whether it be regional finals, or do you think that state championship was the toughest game?
No, I thought there was several games throughout both seasons that were challenging. And we played. Actually, both years we played Timpson. That had Terry Bussey on that team, who's now, he's in college right now.
Yes.
And he was young. I think he was a freshman the first year, a sophomore that second time we played them. But they were a very, very good football team, and played them in the semifinals, and then played post in the state championship the first year. And they were really, really good. So both times, and then Hawley the second time, both teams were really, really good. There's a reason why teams get to Dallas. They've gone through all the playoff games and had finding different ways to keep advancing. So when we get in there, it's really it's a very intense environment, and the competition is very good.
Yeah. I lived in Southeast Texas for 10 years, and I was fortunate to be able to cover some really good teams that actually went to state championships or state semifinals. Predominantly Silsbee, they went to state semifinals quite a few times, and they're making a name for themselves. And I know what you're talking about. When you start seeing that competition, you start seeing the real competition when you get into those regional finals, and even those regional semifinals. That's when you see when it starts getting really, really tough.
Yes, sir.
But it's always fun to watch, though.
Yes, sir.
Fun to watch those games.
Yeah, no, and it's harder. It's. I find myself when I watch games and do stuff, it's a lot harder to watch games than it actually is when you're coaching them. I get more nervous watching a game than I do actually coaching the game. It's just we're just doing what we're doing.
Right.
We've prepared for it. We know what to expect. Our plan is set. We're ready to go. Whereas when you're watching it, it's more nerve-wracking watching a game than it is coaching or playing in a game.
Yeah. Does your dad feel that way too? Because your dad has had success in basketball here in Pleasanton. I mean, does he talk about that ever? Like, does he get nervous at all during games?
I don't think so.
He doesn't?
He's pretty,
he's
pretty straight-faced. He knows how it goes.
But he's pretty intense though, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why I couldn't talk back to this crooked ref over here. Gosh, he'd be on the sidelines yelling at me.
So, seeing all that success, you're back here in Pleasanton. All of that you've learned from going back all the way to high school, your college career, your pro career, and then your coaching career, and having those opportunities to coach in Dallas, those big games and those championship games, and to get those rings. I mean, what do you bring here to Pleasanton?
I think the biggest thing I bring is a lot of experience, obviously. Being a college athlete, being a professional athlete, and then now coaching at at several schools for over 20 years, just bringing a lot of experience and knowing what good looks like. I think that's really something that's stuck with me for a really long time. As soon as I started coaching, is playing collegiately, playing in the NFL, the highest levels, and knowing what the best looks like, and just constantly striving to get our kids to look the best that they can. We're not going to look at it like an NFL level or a college level, but we want them to look and play the best that they can, and know that there's always room for improvement. And that's one of the things that stress to our kids all the time is we may have won the football game, and we made a lot of mistakes, and it's always a good thing, because we didn't play perfectly, so we know we may have played really, really good, but there's still tons of improvement that we can make. And I think that's something that we just stress on a daily basis, through practice, through our games, is just constantly striving to be better. We're never big enough, we're never strong enough, we're never fast enough. We can always get better. And that's something that is really a staple of what we're trying to accomplish.
Nice. We often hear a lot about culture now in collegiate ball. They talk a lot about that. Is that something that you try to implement, or are going to try to implement here in Pleasanton, is a culture? And what is culture? I mean, there really isn't a description for it other than it's more about life and bonding with each other. Is that something that you look at?
Yes, sir. One of the biggest things that we stress, and it was actually the thing that I stressed from day one, is just a culture of having a good attitude and a good effort. Because I really believe that your attitude and effort will reflect in any and everything that you do, whether it be in high school sports or on a daily lifestyle. When you go to your job, if you show up with a great attitude and you have great effort, you can expect great things to happen. And then, unfortunately, the opposite of that is also true. So if you have bad effort and you have bad work ethics, bad attitude, you're going to get bad results. And that's really the culture that we're trying to build, is a culture of attitude and effort, and making sure that both of those are great ones, because ultimately we are in charge of that individually. So not us as coaches, but as the players. The players are in charge of their attitude and their effort. So we got to make sure that they're showing up with great attitude and great effort, and we'll be able to get them going.
I have a quick question,
Sure.
really quick. So speaking of culture, I know last year their motto was "Repping the P." Is that going to continue into this year as well, or do you have anything else that you?
Yeah,
like to
no,
implement?
I think what Coach Liska's been teaching over here has been good stuff. I think repping the P is awesome. We want the Pleasanton community and the Pleasanton Eagles. We want greatness in everything. We want our student body to be great. We want our football team, basketball team, softball, basketball. The whole sports program. Our band. And it's not just athletics. We really want the entire school district to be successful, and it takes all of us. It's not one program. It's all of us. And it's not just one coach. It's all of us coaches. It's all of the teachers. It's our principals. It's our superintendent. It's our bus drivers. It's the whole thing. And it's our community to get behind the school and make sure that we're representing our town and our community with pride.
Well, I think you're getting lucky, because I'm hearing the rumor that we're probably going to have the largest 8th grade class in band this year. I can't remember how many students that are going, but I heard that there's a lot of students. This is going to be one of the largest bands that Pleasanton High School has had in many years.
Yes,
so
sir.
You're going to have a lot of noise happening.
Yeah, no, we love it. I met with our band director just the other day, and she was asking me about playing and all that. Y'all play until I tell y'all to stop, because I want the atmosphere to be a fun atmosphere. I think it is a fun atmosphere on Friday nights when you have the band, you have the cheerleaders, you have a packed stadium, and all of that's going on, and it's our part to make sure we're putting on a good product for everybody to be cheering for, and everybody to be excited about.
Nice. Going back to culture, I just wanted to kind of talk about a little bit about all coaches, and not just football. I think it's all coaches. A lot of people don't understand that it's not just about the game; it's about life as well. I mean, is that something that you kind of touch on as well with your
Absolutely,
athletes?
absolutely. We want number one. We want our kids to grow up to be great young men. You know, and it's not just about being the best football player they can be. We want to win as many games as we can. You know, that's ultimately our goal. Is you know, we get judged by if we win or lose every Friday night. But at the same time, we want to make sure we're developing young men that are going to be successful when they are no longer football players for us. We want them to be great husbands, great fathers, great members of our community. You know, be somebody that's going to build our community up, not tear our community down. And those are the things that we stress to our kids. Talk to our kids about the choices that they make will affect their lives for the rest of their lives. So they got to make sure they're making good choices and good decisions. You know, and that's with you know, just all the different things that are out there for teenage kids. You know, there's so many different things that are going on, and there's so many directions that they can get pulled. We want them to be with us as much as they can, because we want to be a positive influence and let them see what their life can look like, you know, through their work ethics and through what they put into it through athletics, and the success that they have in athletics can push them to be successful as community members.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you also stressed, you know, your grades and your schoolwork.
Absolutely.
That's probably the most important thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, we stress to our kids. We want our kids to be multi-sport athletes. We want them to be involved in the band. We want them to be involved in basketball, baseball, whatever other sport that they want to do. We want them involved with all of that, and then at the same time, we want them to make sure that they're staying on top of their studies, because it can get difficult when, you know, you've got practices, you've got games in the middle of the week, and being able to stay on top of your grades and your classwork is all about time management, which also pushes you as an adult, being able to manage your time and being able to make sure you have your priorities set, where you've got to make sure you finish your schoolwork before you go play your video games. You know, just all the different things that can be happening, and the decisions every day that they got to make.
What was your first priority when you got here to Pleasanton, in your first full day of work?
The biggest priority was just establishing relationships, establishing relationships with our kids, with our coaching staff, and getting to know the strengths of our program, getting to know the strengths of our kids, and seeing what we'll be able to do good. And then also looking at our weaknesses, you know, studying films from last year and seeing the things that we need to improve on. Was some of the stuff that we hit from day one. Also just looking at our facilities and looking at the upgrades that we'd like to try to make with our facilities, and just a constant evaluation. But the number one was definitely building relationships.
Good, that's good. And you've told me this already, but everybody is on board. Kids are on board. Everybody's focused. You're seeing a positive.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
This.
We've started our summer strength program. We've had over 90 kids coming and working out this past week. You know, and they're being consistent. You know, because it's, you know, you're working out. It's hot. You know, you get tired. You get sore. But they've been continuing to answer that bell and getting to the field house and getting another workout in. We've been having our 7-on-7 leagues and tournaments and stuff, and they've been continuing going to all that. We had a lineman challenge with Poteet earlier this week. So our kids are really, you know, we've got stuff for them to be involved in, you know, throughout the summer, and they've had a great attitude, and they've been giving us great effort, and so that's all we'll ever ask of our kids. Just continue doing that, and good things will happen.
Now, I do understand that you're probably changing the offense. You know, I was talking to athletic director Gliska the other day, and he did mention this to me. He said that Pleasanton has always been I think they've been in a spread for like 20 years, I believe.
A long time, yes, sir.
And now this is going to be the first time that we'll probably have a quarterback under center because we're changing our offense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know,
do we have a name for it? Is it just a multiple?
No. I mean, we're going to run the veer, so it'd be a split back offense. So we would run the veer, but we also run the toss. So we've got a lot of misdirection plays with it also. And then we also are able to get into some spread offenses as well.
Okay.
So we will get into the shotgun as well. And the bottom line is we're going to do whatever we can to move the football. So we're evaluating what's going to best fit our kids. I just know that in years past, in my years of experience, we've been very successful being able to run the football and getting into tight end sets and getting downhill now and playing physical, play fast, play physical. Has been definitely the trademark of the offenses that I've been involved with. Even whenever I was in Pleasanton almost 20 years ago, we were in a spread offense, but we were a physical football team. We were trying to get downhill as quickly as we could. Wanted to be a very aggressive and very dominant offensive line, and that's the same goal that we have right now. It's just we've got tight ends involved also, and we want to be fast, physical. We're going to run the football, have play action passes. So we've got, and I really do, from evaluating our kids, I really think it's going to fit our kids, what we can do. Now the hard part, as soon as we started was, getting the quarterback under center. As they've been having the offense everything's been in front of them the entire time. Whereas now that they're under center, they now have two guys behind them. And so now we're having to put our hands under the center. So just teaching how to get a snap was new experience as well. So telling the quarterback where he's got to put his hands, and they're kind of like, I'm gonna put my hands where? And I was like, so it just it's part it's football. We got to be able to take a snap, turn around, toss the ball. So all of that has been new. So we've been learning that, and the kids have been great.
That's good.
Great students of trying to learn how to do all that stuff.
Any variations of the slot T?
With the split back offense, there is definitely some blocking schemes that are very slot T.
A lot of misdirection.
Yes. Well, it's not so much misdirection, but the downhill blocking and the angles that we take. So there is some of that involved with that. And that's one of the things that was, when I moved from Three Rivers, we ran the slot T for 8 years, and then we went to Shiner, and they ran the split back, and kind of learned that offense there, and I was able to pick it up really, really quick because there was a lot of similarities in what we were doing out of the split back veer and what we were doing out of the slot T. It was just kind of 2 backs instead of 3 backs, so there's a lot of differences, but kind of the scheme-wise was pretty easy for us to pick up.
And that changes with your offensive line too. They're blocking, right?
Yes.
On how they have to block. They're going to have to be. There are a lot of pulling and a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, we will be doing more pulling. Our linemen are learning, kind of how they need to move and how they need to get downfield, and the angles that they need to take, and then just when they need to pull, when they're not. And there are certain plays. There's some that's we're just blocking down and trying to get push, and there might be one guard, the backside guard's pulling, but some of the stuff is just straight downhill and trying to use our strengths. So we got some bigger kids and use what they can, use what they're good at, and use their talents as much as we can, and move the football down the field. That's ultimately. Whether it takes us 20 plays to score a touchdown or we can score a touchdown in 2 or 3, really makes no difference. It's what is the result of that drive, and we want to make sure that our drives result in touchdowns.
Oftentimes, teams that I've always covered have always been spread. Silsbee was always in a. They did a variation. They're very multiple. They did a pro style offense, but they would also be in shotgun a lot as well. Of course, with Silsbee, it was a little different. Southeast Texas, a lot of speed over there. Speed was just insane over there.
Yes, sir.
But I know what you're talking about with those pulling guards and then just moving downfield, because ultimately that's what's important. Is just getting downfield and getting the ball in the hands of your good athletes.
And that's what's always been, why we've run the football everywhere I've been, was we want to make sure we can get the ball to our guys, and the easiest way to get the ball to our guys is to turn around and give them the ball. Or sometimes, when you're throwing the ball, it doesn't, you can't always get it to the guy that you want to get it to. Whereas when we're running the football, we know, we're getting the ball to this guy, and we're going to let him go to work.
I know also in Southeast Texas with Silsbee, there were several teams in the area that also ran the slot T. And like I said before, Silsbee's speed, even defensively, they were fast. But that slot T wore them down.
Yes, sir.
It's just it just wears you down.
Yes,
and
sir.
you can see, they got their hands on their knees. They're the defense. They're, halftime, towards the end of the game, they're just huffing and puffing.
That's our goal, is to get the defense looking like that. We really that's exactly what we want to try to accomplish. With running the football, and then just getting everybody up to stop the run, and then here comes the play action pass, and we're able to get behind the defense. So, bottom line is we want to make sure we put our kids in a position to be successful. So it's always how to move the ball. That is it's strictly what can we do to make sure we're moving the ball forward.
Now that you're changing the offense, what about your defense? Is that going to change much?
It will look a little bit different, and offensively and defensively. When you change coaches and you change coordinators, no matter if it's the same exact stuff, it's always going to look different. Because we're not the same persons, so it's always going to be. My mind is not the same mind as somebody else that might run the exact same offense. And then defensively, we will be moving into a 3-3 stack. And then we will also still be in a split defense, which Coach Liska's run a lot was a split defense, and then they ran some 50 fronts last year also. So it's kind of it'd be a little bit a little bit of mix of both between the 50 and the split defense, and we'll be able to get into an even front, and we'll be able to get into an odd front, just with some different calls, because I am a big believer that defensively we don't want to stay in the same front over and over again. We're going to be able to mix up our fronts and, be able to cause a little chaos and get our kids to play fast. And that's number one thing on defense. We got to be able to move. We got to be able to play fast.
Physical?
Yes, sir.
Because I always remember Liska's defense as always being physical.
Yes, sir.
And always loved watching that.
Well, I'm excited about our defense. All of our assistant coaches have talked about how our guys are, they're not afraid to go put their hats to the football, and so I'm very excited to see our kids do it. I'm excited about seeing our kids run into the football and making plays on the defensive side, because I've been an offensive coordinator, and I've been running offenses for several years, but you've got to be able to play defense, and I am a big believer on the defensive side of the football. We've got to make sure that we are sound, our guys are fresh. Our guys know what they're doing, and they're going to play fast, and they're going to make plays, and have fun. That's the biggest thing. Offense and defense and special teams. We're playing a game, and we want them to have fun.
Have fun.
Have fun with your teammates. Have fun with your classmates. And the bottom line is, it's a lot more funner when we're winning than it is when we're losing. And so that's always a constant reminder of why we work as hard as we do. Why we put in the time that we do, because we want to have fun, and at the end of the night, nobody enjoys when we're losing. Players, coaches, family members, guys in the stands, nobody likes it. So we want to make sure we're putting as much in so we can win on Friday nights and have fun. That's the bottom line, is when we're having fun, good things are happening for us.
Nice. Now we're talking about all these changes as you're implementing, and with those changes come adjustments in coaching. I know that you've got some coaches that are coming in, different coaches, and how is that looking? You've got a new offensive coordinator?
Yes, sir. Troy Moses, offensive coordinator, and be also coaching our offensive line. I've known him. Troy was a teammate of mine at Texas A&M in Kingsville.
Okay.
So I've known Troy for 30 years.
Nice.
We haven't ever worked together on a staff, but we've definitely spoken throughout our coaching careers and kind of exchanged thoughts, several different occasions. And getting to meet with Troy when we had this position open up, I felt like it was a great fit, him coming in and being able to coach our offensive line and help coordinate the offense. I thought it would be a great fix for a great fix for our football team.
And what about like special teams? You concentrating on that as well?
Yeah, our special teams will be, it's special teams is always one of the harder things to get accomplished all the time, because you're constantly working offense, you're constantly working defense. At the same time, you've got to be able to work your special teams in as well, and it's an extremely important part of the football game. So that's one of the deals where we try to, you don't want your kids having to play the whole football game.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at depth and you look at player personnel, as you're trying to find ways where you can have some guys where you've got your offense set, you got your defense set, and you got your special teams, and hopefully it's not the same kids having to do all three. Like you got to be able to make sure that you can keep your kids fresh, so that we're not just getting worn out in the fourth quarter. So it's being able to personnel that, and having some kids that may not be starters on offense or defense, but they've got some talent, and they've got some stuff they can accomplish, and they can help our team win through special teams. And we've got to be able to teach our kids the value of the special teams and how important it is to the football game. And it's nobody really notices it until it goes bad, and when it goes bad, it can definitely cost you a football game.
Absolutely. Having Liska as athletic director, you served as an athletic director previously. How does that help you out and to concentrate on what you need to do?
It's been great. I've been able to just come in and really focus on football. We've had to hire several coaches. We hired a head volleyball coach. We hired, I think, a tennis coach. We hired, several different coaches. And I haven't really had to. I've been able to just focus still on our football team and our football program. And he's able to take care of all that when it comes to hosting playoff games. As soon as we get here, we're I think it was we were doing baseball, softball, so we're hosting teams calling, trying to get soccer games at our place, or hosting a softball or a baseball game or a basketball game that we're hosting. Just the demands of the AD is nonstop. And then just the presence of being at all the different games and all the different places. And the demands as an AD, having that on Coach Liska it helps out a lot, because he's all over it. He gets to handle all that, and I get to really focus on our football team and next year's season and getting everything prepared for that.
I'm sure that he's probably feeling a little different, because he's not going to be on that field anymore as the coach. And I did talk to Tab Dumont when he transitioned to an athletic director, and he told me the same thing. It was a little different, but then there was an adjustment, but at that same time you still want that.
Sure.
You don't want to be on the sideline.
Yes. I can only imagine like what Tab had when he moved to the AD spot, and now Coach Liska. I'm just really happy that Coach Liska entrusts me to take over the team, and take over the program. I've known Coach Liska for over 20 years, and
he's a good man.
And he's a good man, absolutely. And knowing that he and Coach Dumont definitely are in my corner and pulling for me and wanting the football team to be as successful as it can be, it means a lot. Because I got a lot of respect for both of those guys. Worked for them when I was a younger coach, and they definitely taught me a lot. I learned a lot from working with Coach Dumont and working with Coach Liska, and I was able to take a lot of stuff that I learned from them to my other schools, and coming back over here and really, I'm sure the message a lot of times that I'm preaching and I'm doing is it's a lot of the same stuff that they probably heard from Coach Dumont and Coach Liska. There's a lot of similarities in what I've been doing is what they believed in.
What have you thought about, like, just being the predecessor to your former coach Hank Kotzer, Tab Dumont, who were here for many years and found a lot of success during their tenures as coaches?
Yes, sir.
And being that predecessor, has there been any pressure on you, or you're just taking that as a learning?
Yes, I'm excited about it. Coming home, it does mean a lot. My family is from here. I've got several family members that graduated from this high school. My dad graduated from this high school. He was a member of the 1962, I think, district championship football
Yes.
team. I've actually got a picture of that football team in my office, and so it's really, it means a lot, and I'm wanting this to be very successful, not just for myself, but for our community. This is my community. This is our family's community, and I'm really excited about trying to get Eagle football back where we want it to be. We've gone 3-7 and 4-6 the last 2 years. Haven't made the playoffs in a couple of years, and those are the goals that we have for us. We want to be a playoff team, and we want to do it now. Yes, there's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some things that don't go the way we want, but we're going to be working towards those goals, and we want to get Eagle football back to where we're competing for district championships. We're competing to win playoff games, and ultimately we want to get to where we're in the mix for regional and state contentions.
Now, talking about the past and what has transpired with those last 2 seasons that you mentioned, I also want to talk about facing Jourdanton, which is a foe right off of here in '97. We're 2-4 against them since 2017. What do you foresee in the future with Jourdanton?
We'll evaluate all of our preseason teams, once we get to it, because I know, some of it's travel. This is not definite travel, but it seems like it's been a good rivalry, and it's definitely one that we want to make sure that 2-4 doesn't sound that way anymore. But it's going to be something. I'm hoping that it's a good environment. When we had the crosstown rivals when I was in Three Rivers, it was with George West, and that one, it just got where it wasn't good for both communities. It was you started getting graffiti put up, and just different, just hatred type stuff.
You didn't do any of that, did you?
No, I was in 6th grade, Daniel.
But and then just the hatred. We're Atascosa County. But we don't want hatred. But we got to be able to have a friendly rivalry and have bragging rights, and want it to be fierce competitors on the field, and be able to walk away from the game knowing that there are neighbors, and still be friendly, but at the same time we want to win.
Yeah.
And it's going to be competitive, and we'll see how it goes, but it looks like it's going to be a really fun environment and exciting time when that game comes up.
Now you're now that you're head coach, and coming February there will be the realignment. This February will be a realignment, and you'll be heavily involved in that. What does that entail? I mean, you'll probably have to make some phone calls with coaches to see what direction you want to go as far as your pre-district games.
Yes, and then we won't know how many teams are going to be in our district also.
That's true.
So it's we would set up probably 5 preseason games, and then
Just
we may end up with 2 of those
2.
games. If we're in a 9-team district, we'll have 8 district games. So you never know,
Yes.
what UIL is going to do. They'll kind of let us know early, kind of, if we're 4A, 3A, we'll get that, and I really think they're going to, all things are pointing towards them really just doing, getting rid of the Division I, Division II
Really?
in the preseason, and kind of do like what they've been doing with basketball this past year, and baseball, softball, where it's all 4A, and then your
the
4
top 2.
teams. Yep, your 4 teams are your playoff teams, and then your big schools go Division I, and your smaller schools go Division II.
How do you feel about that?
I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
It's out of our hands, so it's we deal with whatever UIL gives us. So it really, the hard part is the unknown, and getting your schedule set when you don't know who's going to be in your district. So trying to schedule teams. That's where sometimes you do need to schedule a 3A team because you're not going to play them in district. So that's some of the advantages of being able to get those games set. Or a 5A school, you're not going to be playing those guys in district. Whereas you get 4A schools, sometimes you never really know. You could end up being in the same district as them, and then now realignment comes out and you're in district with them, and now all of a sudden you got to try to find a game.
That makes sense.
So you try to get 2 or 3 backups. You may have somebody scheduled for that week 1, and then something happens. You've still talked to somebody else about possibly having to do week 1 also.
Yeah.
So, but it's chaos when realignment comes around. It can be pretty crazy.
Like right now, Pleasanton's district is tough.
Absolutely.
Davenport,
Yes.
Fredericksburg.
Yes. The travel is tough too. I really, if they were to do the baseball and basketball districts, I think the travel would be a little bit closer for us, because there's just the Davenport and Fredericksburg and Canyon Lake. It's we're going on the other side of San Antonio, and it is some pretty big travel. And then sometimes we've been down kind of going towards Corpus in years past. So you just never really know. But if they do what it kind of looks like they've been doing, I think it would be more of a kind of the brush country area is really kind of how it could end up happening.
So if they decide to do what you're talking about, potentially Pleasanton could be in a district again with like Pearsall and schools of that nature,
Yes.
and more closer to this area.
Yes,
Sort of
because
like
it could be
baseball.
with Floresville, the
'Cause
Floresville,
that's what
Somerset, and
all the other
Yeah, that's how they have
volleyball, they do that, don't they?
it. Y'all go way
Yes.
out of y'all's way to get a good district game.
yes.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
tough.
Traveling through San Antonio, and you've got kind of
Mm-hmm.
the country, the rural areas, that we could kind of establish some rivalries with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that we'll probably still stay at 4A?
We'll definitely be 4A. Yes.
I guess it's dependent on what they decide with 6A and how that's going
Yes,
to look.
that could too. Yeah.
That
If they end
kind
up bumping up a number for a 7A, they've talked about that.
Mhm.
And if they do that, then the numbers could end up, getting moved around a little bit. So
Because that's what happened in 2006, right? When Pleasanton went down to 3A,
Yes.
they bumped all those numbers up, and
Yes.
then it pushed Pleasanton down to 3A.
yes, and
Which-
that's really what we are now, because then they ended up.
It's the same
They
schools.
added an A, I guess, to everybody. So they got rid of 1A, and I think 1A is now 7-man, and then everybody else got bumped up one classification. So I mean, it's really we were 3A back then, and that's really what we are right now.
Right. And back then, when they put Pleasanton in 3A heaven, it was, I think, I was looking at researching some stuff, and I found where Pleasanton was the second largest 3A school in the state of Texas when they moved Pleasanton to 3A.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
The big numbers help. There's no
Yeah.
doubt. Yes, having more kids definitely helps.
And not that didn't help their success, but I mean, it was probably intimidating for other teams facing Pleasanton. It's like, oh, this is a 4A school in 3A. What are we
Yes,
playing
sir.
them for?
Yes, sir.
But those were fun times. Were you on were you coaching 2006 here?
Yes, I was here for that.
When
yes.
we went to the regional finals, right?
Yes, we went to the regional finals in 06. We lost to Ingleside.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a tough game.
Yes. Yes. Now we were in that one too. We had chances in that game. Ingleside was a good opponent.
They were fast.
Yes. And
They were
then the
pretty
next year we
fast.
were able to beat Gonzalez.
Yes,
in the regional
man,
championship.
that was an awesome game. That was so fun. That
Yes.
game. It came down. It was an overtime game.
Yes,
Wasn't it?
yes.
It came
Oh my
down to one
gosh.
field goal
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
That was.
I remember that one.
Oh my gosh! I'll never forget Tab Dumont when he saw that ball go through the goalpost and his arms just went up. That was so fun. That was a lot of fun. Are you going to be as fiery as Tab? I know I talked to Liska not too long ago, and he said, "Yeah, I always had to hold his belt loop."
Gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tab.
Yeah. I can get a little fiery, but it just bottom line, it's we've got to get the kids to perform and do what they need to do. And then it's an exciting game. It's an enthusiastic game, so it brings out the best in all of us. I'm very, very competitive. We obviously want to win, and so we'll be a little crazy on Friday nights, I'm sure.
Well, it needs to be crazy. I think we had a few school district members coming in not too long ago, right? And we're talking about painting the town green on Friday
Yes.
nights and
Yeah.
and bringing that spirit back
Yes.
up.
We want to have a spirit competition with a bunch of businesses, so that
There
way
you go,
we can
yes.
show our Eagle pride.
Yes. Sounds fantastic.
That way we can paint all these businesses green and white
Yes.
on their windows and stuff.
Yeah.
Have streamers. It used to be that way a long time
Yeah.
ago,
I
didn't
remember
it?
the cowboy right over there had a green jersey
Jersey?
on. Yeah.
No, that's so cool.
They used to put a green jersey on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody had their little flags hanging outside all the time. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
You know, you're what are you, 90s kid?
Graduated in '94.
94. I'm an 80s kid. When did you graduate?
21. Oh my gosh! Jessica, quit laughing, you too! All right.
We can't, well, you know, and Randy, he knows this. So, you know, we can't do the things that we used to do. You know, like I was talking about Tab being fiery. You can't do that anymore.
No, yeah, it's I might hurt myself.
Yeah. We don't want to get in trouble. Coach Palmer, thank you so much for
Yes, sir.
visiting us.
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Looking forward to this season. I think this whole town is abuzz about all of this. We've got some old timers. We got football fans. They're calling me. They're texting me. They're saying, you know, what is it going to look like? We're excited. We're happy, and I think we're going to see a lot of good fans coming back and,
Yes, sir.
and enjoying the program.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. I'm here, and you know, we've got the kids on board, and our coaches are working hard throughout this summer to make sure the fans are excited and stay excited and ready to watch some football on Friday nights.
Awesome.
Great. I know this is going to be my first season, my first football season as
All
a
right.
sports editor, so I'll be out there, Coach. I'm looking
Sounds
forward
good.
to it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll probably be hanging out there
Yeah.
with her too, because I'm going to go watch it. You know me, I don't like to be in the bleachers. I like to be
Yes,
on the
sir.
sideline. I like to be in the middle of the action.
Yes, sir. Well, it'll be fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.